Apple finally said the words artificial intelligence. This is the first time they have ever said that term, and they are redefining it to be Apple Intelligence. They made some major announcements and some pretty conservative announcements today at WWDC. So let's watch the AI portion together, and I'm going to give you my thoughts as we watch it. Let's get into it.
We've been using artificial intelligence and machine
Right there. First time I've ever heard anyone from Apple use the words artificial intelligence. Usually it's simply machine learning.
We want to ensure that the outcome reflects the principles at the core of our products. It has to be powerful enough to help with the things that matter most to you. It has to be intuitive and easy to use. It has to be deeply integrated into your product experiences.
That third point, deeply integrated, that is Apple's killer advantage. The fact that they have access to so much of your data, they have a hardware device in your pocket, they can control the apps on the phone, that is really how they are going to win in the AI race. And that's something I've been saying for a while now.
Most importantly, it has to understand you and be grounded in your personal context, like your routine, your relationships, your communications, and more. And of course, it has to be built with privacy from the ground up.
So I think actually these last two are critically important as well. Personal, that is an extension of being integrated into your Apple ecosystem because all of a sudden it has the context of everything you do within it, which is very personal. Your emails, your photos, your text messages, everything. And Apple is, at least they promote, very big on privacy. And we're going to see a little bit of that through this presentation.
We're tremendously excited about the power of generative models. And there are already some really impressive chat tools out there that perform a vast array of tasks using world knowledge. But these tools know very little about you or your needs.
All right, so you're going to see this theme throughout the entire presentation. They, on the one hand, are trying to separate themselves from, let's just be honest, OpenAI. They are really trying to set themselves apart, being more personal, more private, more connected to you, having more ability even. But then at the very end, they do announce the partnership with OpenAI. So they are really trying to de-risk themselves in this interim period before they actually have their own frontier model.
With iOS 18, iPadOS 18, and macOS Sequoia, we are embarking on a new journey to bring you intelligence that understands you. Apple Intelligence is the personal intelligence system that puts powerful generative models right at the core of your iPhone, iPad, and Mac. It draws on your personal context to give you intelligence that's most helpful and relevant for you. It protects your privacy at every step.
You know what I just realized? They said iPad, iPhone, and Mac, but they didn't say Apple Vision Pro. So does that mean that Apple Intelligence isn't coming to Apple Vision Pro yet? Let's keep watching.
Let's take a closer look at Apple Intelligence, starting with its incredible capabilities. Then, we'll tell you about its unique architecture. And after that, we'll show you how it elevates so many of your everyday experiences. Let's begin with capabilities. Apple Intelligence will enable your iPhone, iPad, and Mac to understand and create language, as well as images, and take action for you to simplify interactions across your apps.
All right, so language and images, things we've seen a million times. That is ChatGPT and DALL-E and every other version of them from other companies. Action, that is really, as I said before, Apple's killer advantage. That is their moat. They have the ability to deeply integrate AI into the operating systems themselves, even more so than seemingly Microsoft has been willing to do with an OpenAI integration. And a lot of what we're seeing and a lot of what we're going to watch right now is actually Apple's models themselves. And so Apple did develop a lot of its own AI. And you're going to see, again, as I mentioned, they're treating OpenAI as just a plug-in integration. Even though it's going to be super powerful, it is still just a plug-in integration into the ecosystem that is Apple. And they also leave it open to plugging in other frontier models. So you can think about Claude, you can think about Llama 3. Many other models are probably going to be built in similarly to how ChatGPT is integrated. And we'll get to that in a bit.
And what's truly unique is its understanding of your personal context. Language and text are fundamental to how we communicate and work. And the large language models built into Apple Intelligence deliver deep, natural language understanding, making so many of your day-to-day tasks faster and easier. For example, your iPhone can prioritize your notifications to minimize unnecessary distractions while ensuring you don't miss something important.
This seems like something that is not even AI as we've come to understand it today. This is just simple machine learning. And honestly, I thought this was already a feature. I thought they had stuff like this. I know Android has stuff like this. So this really does not seem that interesting to me.
Apple Intelligence also powers brand new writing tools that you can access system-wide to feel more confident in your writing. Writing tools can rewrite, proofread, and summarize text for you, whether you're working on an article or blog post, condensing ideas to share with your classmates, or looking over a review before you post it online. And they're available automatically across Mail, Notes, Safari, Pages, Keynote, and even your third-party apps.
Yeah, that's pretty cool, but again, it's stuff we've seen, whether you're using Grammarly or even just copy pasting into ChatGPT, or even like the most basic models can do this stuff. So not very innovative, but it's cool that it again is deeply integrated into the operating system.
Apple Intelligence offers a host of capabilities for images. From photos to emojis and GIFs, it's so much fun to express ourselves visually. And now you can create totally original images to make everyday conversations even more enjoyable. And because Apple Intelligence understands the people in your photo library, you can personalize these images for your conversations. So when you wish a friend a happy birthday, you can create an image of them surrounded by cake, balloons, and flowers to make.
I have no interest in this feature. This is such a gimmick, but yeah, I can see my parents using this quite a bit.
Another way Apple Intelligence is deeply impactful is its ability to take action across your apps.
This is the major selling point for me. I want to be able to tell Siri to do something for me, and it goes and does it, regardless of the application that it's within. Let's watch.
The greatest source of tools for taking actions is already in your pocket with the apps you use every day. And we have designed Apple Intelligence so it can tap into these tools and carry out tasks on your behalf. So you can say things like, pull up the files that Jaws shared with me last week, or show me all the photos of Mom, Olivia, and me, or play the podcast that my wife sent the other day.
Yeah, I mean, these are seemingly very simple use cases, but incredible time savers. I can't tell you how much time I spend simply looking for emails that I know I had 6 months ago. It just happened to me. I was trying to remember this person that I talked to probably about 6 months ago, and I couldn't remember his name, couldn't remember anything really, other than I talked to him. It was something about YouTube, and I wanted to follow up with him about something. And I tried searching with Google. It took finally about 30 minutes of searching in Google search to finally find him. And this is the power of Microsoft's recall feature. This is the power of AI being deeply integrated into your operating system.
There's one more critical building block for personal intelligence, and that's an understanding of your personal context. Apple Intelligence is grounded in your personal information and context, with the ability to retrieve and analyze the most relevant data from across your apps, as well as to reference the content on your screen, like an email or calendar event you're looking at. This can be incredibly useful in so many moments throughout the day. Suppose one of my meetings is being rescheduled for late in the afternoon, and I'm wondering if it's going to prevent me from getting to my daughter's play performance on time. Apple Intelligence can process the relevant personal data to assist me. It can understand who my daughter is, the play details she sent several days ago, the time and location for my meeting, and predicted traffic between my office and the theater. Understanding this kind of personal context is essential for delivering truly helpful intelligence, but it has to be done right. You should not have to hand over all the details of your life to be warehoused and analyzed in someone's AI cloud.
Oh, if that is not a direct shot at OpenAI, while still about to announce a partnership with OpenAI, I don't know what is. And I agree, I don't want everything that I do, especially all my personal stuff, going out to a cloud service to be stored and analyzed. I love local models. That is one of the biggest reasons I love local models. And my iPhone My Mac, they have incredibly powerful chips in them. And lately they are getting better and better at running local models. And so all of this I want run locally, and that is what Apple is going to do. And they're going to talk about how they're going to differentiate between compute that can be done on device and compute that needs to be done in their cloud. And I'll get to that in a moment.
With Apple Intelligence, powerful intelligence goes hand in hand with powerful privacy. Let me tell you more about its architecture and how it's built with privacy at the core. The cornerstone of the personal intelligence system is on-device processing. We have integrated it deep into your iPhone, iPad, and Mac, and throughout your apps, so it's aware of your personal data without collecting your personal data. This is only possible through our unique integration of hardware and software and our years-long investment in building advanced silicon for on-device intelligence. Deeply integrated generative models require immense processing power. And with our most advanced Apple silicon, the A17 Pro and M family of chips, we have the computational foundation to power Apple Intelligence. This personal intelligence system is comprised of highly capable large language and diffusion models that are specialized for your everyday tasks and can adapt on the fly to your current activity. It also includes an on-device semantic index that can organize and surface information.
Yeah, and by the way, in very Apple fashion, we're going to know nothing about the underlying model, the diffusion model, the language model that is running all of the stuff they're describing. We will know nothing about it. Maybe some things will be leaked, but they're not going to talk about it at all. And that is exactly their point. They think that the average consumer, and they're right, doesn't care how many billions of parameters, doesn't care about inference time or the score on the benchmark. And they're right. They're right about that. So they're obfuscating all of that. They're not going to talk about it at all. They're just going to tell you about its capabilities. And this is very, very much in Apple fashion. And I suspect in future generations, they're not going to talk about it either, but they will say this is 2x more capable or 150% faster. That is typically what they do with their Apple chips. They don't ever actually talk about the specs of the chip. They just talk about it as a relative improvement to the previous generation.
We want to extend the privacy and security of your iPhone into the cloud to unlock even more intelligence for you. So we have created private cloud compute. Private cloud compute allows Apple Intelligence to flex and scale its computational capacity and draw on even larger server-based models for more complex requests while protecting your privacy. These models run on servers we've especially created using Apple Silicon. These Apple Silicon servers offer the privacy and security of your iPhone from the silicon on up, draw on the security properties of the Swift programming language, and run software with transparency built in.
I want to believe them, but they pretty much just went from dissing cloud compute to saying, yeah, we've built our own cloud compute. Here's why you can trust us. So I'll take it with a grain of salt, of course.
Your data is never stored or made accessible to Apple. It's used exclusively to fulfill your request. And just like your iPhone, independent experts can inspect the code that runs on these servers to verify this privacy promise. In fact, private cloud compute cryptographically ensures your iPhone, iPad, and Mac will refuse to talk to a server unless its software has been publicly logged for inspection.
That's an interesting claim. So they said third-party researchers can verify. That's cool, but who are they? And it will decline requests from cloud compute that hasn't been verified. I'm not sure how that'll work. I guess they could sign the hardware, but I'm just not sure. But it sounds cool though. Okay, so I'm going to skip through this a little bit and just cut the time down because otherwise this is going to be an hour-and-a-half long video. I'll just get to the interesting bits where they actually talk about the features. Okay, so the first thing is Siri's getting a new look. I think it's beautiful and it looks more integrated into the actual operating system, which I think is the point. And here they're going to talk about being able to speak to Siri more naturally, which is nice because Siri is extremely incapable of basically any sophisticated action that you tell it. And now, because of large language models, you can speak more naturally. So let's watch.
And you can speak to Siri more naturally, thanks to richer language understanding capabilities. Even if I stumble over my words, Siri understands what I'm getting at. What does the weather look like for tomorrow at Muir Beach? Oh wait, I meant Muir Woods.
The forecast is calling for clear skies in the morning near Muir Woods National Monument.
Next, they're going to show off typing to Siri, which I think is really cool because obviously if you're in a public place, you don't want to be talking to Siri verbally out loud. You want to just type something. And I think people have gotten really used to typing to AI, although I do think voice is the killer feature. So let's watch this. And then I'm actually going to reference back to something with the AirPods that they announced.
You might not want to speak to Siri out loud. What's great is that now, at any time, you have the option to type to Siri. With just a double tap at the bottom of the screen, I can quickly and quietly ask Siri to set an alarm. And you can switch between text and voice, communicating in whatever way feels right for the moment.
Okay, so this is well before the AI section in WWDC. But this is about the AirPods, and it kind of went under the radar in my opinion, but I think is actually an incredibly valuable under the radar feature that kind of shows how Apple might be thinking of the future of AI. So let's watch it together, then I'm going to comment on it.
This year, we're making it even easier to interact with Siri for a seamless, hands-free experience. For those instances when you may not want to speak out loud in response to Siri, like on the bus to work, or in those places that are a little too crowded, we've created the ability to simply nod your head yes, or gently shake your head no to interact.
Call from Gam Gam. Answer it? Okay.
All right, so I just want to talk about this. The Apple AirPods are incredible. They have sold countless units, hundreds of millions of them, I believe, and they actually represent a huge amount of revenue for Apple. But this is also the key to the future of Siri. Now, here's the thing. In the entire keynote, and I'm kind of giving away the rest of the AI portion, but they didn't touch on the voice aspect of Siri at all. Nothing is going to change about the voice. It doesn't sound more natural. They didn't even show it off in the slightest, which is kind of surprising because when you put these in, just like in the movie Her, having these in your ear is your direct AI assistant available at any time. That is, in my opinion, the future of how humans will interact with AI. It is clearly, in my opinion, through voice. So you throw these in and you could talk to Siri. And now you can also have gestures which inform Siri. So right now you can nod your head yes or no, but imagine they had little cameras on the end of them and you can do certain things like go to the next one, go to the last. And all of the gestures that you're now familiar with Apple Vision Pro can now be interpreted by your AirPods. That is a really cool future. Okay, now they're going to talk about in-app actions. And again, this is really where Apple can set itself apart. This is the moat that Apple has by having devices in hundreds of millions of people's hands and their pockets. And this is what agents promises to be in the future, and the ability for AI to actually control the phone is going to give AI a tremendous leap in capabilities.
Siri will have the ability to take hundreds of new actions in and across apps, including some that leverage our new writing and image generation capabilities. For example, you'll be able to say, "Show me my photos of Stacy in New York wearing her pink coat," and Siri will bring those right up. Then you might say, "Make this photo pop," and Siri will enhance it just like that. And Siri will be able to take actions across apps. So you could say, "Add this to my note with Stacy's bio," and it will jump from the Photos app to the Notes app to make it happen.
Again, another very basic example, but I think the value is really flying under the radar here. Being able to tell Siri things and Siri being able to coordinate between different apps and being able to actually perform actions amongst different apps is incredibly valuable.
This is going to bring us closer to realizing our vision in which Siri moves through the system in concert with you. This is made possible through significant enhancements that we're making to App Intents, a framework that lets apps define a set of actions for Siri, shortcuts, and other system experiences. And this won't be limited to apps made by Apple. For developers, they'll be able to use the App Intents framework to define actions in their apps and tap into Apple Intelligence too.
All right, so here's the thing. This is an asymmetric exposure of the API. They are saying, hey, developers, third-party developers, you can expose different actions to our AI. But most likely, they're not going to allow third-party AI to control any app. And I understand that. That is ripe for risk and security issues. So basically, you're opening up your application for Siri to be able to control. Now, think about the rapid device. I know a lot of you have some pretty negative thoughts about it. The whole large action model, this is it, right? So imagine Uber, the Uber app, utilizes the App Intense API, opens it up, and now you can just say, hey Siri, I need a ride to the airport in 20 minutes. Book me something. That will be extremely powerful and will actually start the transition away from interacting with the actual device through touch. And I truly believe this. Everything's going to be voice, but it's going to be a slow progression. And there's definitely going to be a time where touch and silent interaction is still needed. But I think more and more, the interaction is either going to be through voice or just predicted, and you simply nod or say no, and Siri will either do that suggested action or not. So if it knows that you need to go to the airport to catch a flight, all of a sudden you might get in your ear, hey Matt, do you want me to order you an Uber to arrive to your flight on time? And all I do is nod my head.
Thanks to Apple Intelligence, it has awareness of your personal context. With its semantic index of things like photos, calendar events, and files, plus information that's stashed in passing messages and emails, like hotel bookings, PDFs of concert tickets, and links that your friends have shared. Siri will find and understand things it never could before. And with the powerful privacy protections of Apple Intelligence, Siri will use this information to help you get things done without compromising your privacy.
And by the way, Google, this is your opportunity to come from a completely different angle than Apple. You can build in this App Intense into Android, obviously, but then you can also allow developers to insert their own AI. And as a consumer, I get to choose the AI I want to use. And I think that's really compelling.
You'll be able to ask Siri to find something when you can't remember if it was in an email, a text, or a shared note, like some book recommendations that a friend sent you a while back. Or for times when you're filling out a form and need to input your driver's license, Siri will be able to find a photo of your license, extract your ID number, and type it into the form for you. I want to show you
That's awesome.
one more demo that will give you a sense for how powerful Siri will be when it draws on the personal context awareness and action capabilities built into Apple Intelligence. Imagine that I'm planning to pick my mom up from the airport and I'm trying to figure out my timing. Siri is going to be able to help me do this so easily. Siri, when is my mom's flight landing? What's awesome is that Siri actually cross-references flight details that my mom shared with me by email with real-time flight tracking to give me her up-to-date arrival time. What's our lunch plan? I don't always remember to add things to my calendar, and so I love that Siri can help me keep track of plans that I've made in casual conversation, like this lunch reservation my mom mentioned in a text. How long will it take us to get there from the airport? I haven't had to jump from mail to messages to maps to figure out this plan. And a set of tasks that would have taken minutes on my own, and honestly probably would have resulted in a call to my mom, could be addressed in a matter of seconds. That's just a glimpse of the ways in which Siri...
Yeah, I mean, that's a very cool use case and something that I would use all the time. And I find it interesting that everything seems to be very proactive with the use cases that they're showing. So it's, hey, show me this, or hey, give me that, or take this action, versus what is inevitable, which is Siri understanding what you need before you even ask. And all you need to say is, yes, do that, or no, don't do that. So I wonder when that is coming. All right, now they're going to talk about the writing tools, which, you know, it's a cool feature. I don't know, not super innovative in any way, but let's take a look.
Rewrite gives you different versions of what you've written, so you can choose the one you like best. This is great for making sure your cover letter for that job you're excited for lands perfectly. And suggestions are shown in line, so you can go with a combination of flow and wording that works for you. Rewrite also helps you get the tone right. Have you ever reread a work email that you just wrote and thought, oh, this might not go over well? Well, now you can change the tone of that response to your colleague to make it sound more friendly, professional, or concise. You can also describe how you'd like it rewritten. For example, you can invite your friends to a get-together with a one-of-a-kind invitation, written as a poem. Who could say no to that? Another way writing tools can help you is with proofread. Say you're emailing your English professor. With proofread, you can nail grammar, word choice, and sentence structure to put your best foot forward. You can review suggested edits and their explanations individually, or accept them all with a click.
Yeah, it's cool. I mean, Grammarly does all of this for me already, so I wonder if Grammarly is feeling a bit nervous right now.
Apple Intelligence also powers Smart Reply in Mail. For example, when you need to RSVP to an event, you will now see suggestions for your response based on the email. If you say you'll be there, Mail identifies questions you were asked in the invite and offers intelligent selections so you can quickly choose your responses.
That's amazing. I gotta say, that is what I have been wanting for a very long time. Now here's the thing. This Smart Reply is dynamically creating the questions that you can answer just by clicking on these, and then it inserts the whole thing as text. And this Smart Reply UI is dynamically generated based on the things that it needs to ask you to reply. And I think that's a brilliant user interaction and user interface.
Finally, let's talk about how Apple Intelligence helps you stay on top of a busy inbox. We all deal with sorting through a ton of email every day. And now it's easier and faster than ever to browse your inbox. Instead of previewing the first few lines of each email that don't always convey the most useful information, you can now see summaries visible right from your email list. So without even opening the email, you'll know that your team is meeting on Thursday to discuss a new design.
That's cool. Not very sophisticated to do, but still very cool, because all of this stuff is only cool because it's so natively integrated into the app.
Apple Intelligence can understand the content of the emails you receive, determine what's most urgent, and surface it right at the top, like a dinner invite for tonight or a boarding pass for your trip this afternoon.
Google has had this for 10 years plus. And now for what is potentially going to be the most abused feature in Apple Intelligence, Genmoji.
But even with thousands of emoji to choose from, there are times when you can't quite find the right one for how you feel. So we're introducing Genmoji. Leveraging the power of Apple Intelligence, you can create Genmoji on device right in the keyboard and match any moment perfectly. Just provide a description and you'll see your Genmoji appear right before your eyes, along with more options to choose from.
Do you all remember Facebook's AI stickers and how quickly that was abused, from people creating Hitler stickers to Elon Musk making out with Mussolini? I mean, it really got abused extremely quickly, and I bet Apple's going to face that same problem. All right, next is their version of DALL-E. They're calling it Image Playground, which is kind of cool. Gives people the ability to create generative images anywhere, which is pretty cool. It's in any app that you want, which will be available in different apps.
To get started, you can choose from a range of concepts like themes, costumes, accessories, places, and more.
So much stricter guardrails than obviously DALL-E, which can create anything you describe as long as it's not copyrighted or something against their terms of service.
When you select them, they get added to your playground. No need to engineer the perfect prompt. In a few seconds, you'll see Apple Intelligence creates a preview of what your image could look like.
All right, I actually missed this the first time that I watched this, but he said no need to create the perfect prompt. And I think what they identified is that experience of iterating over and over again to get that perfect image is probably not going to work for the vast majority of consumers. And so they created a new interface to generate images. So let's keep watching.
A moment later, you'll see more previews you can swipe through. This all happens on device, so you have the freedom to experiment and create as many images as you want. This is great for quickly responding to your friends with just the right image. When you have a really specific idea in mind, you could just type a description to add it to your playground. And you can easily adjust which style you want to use. And choose from animation, sketch, or illustration, whichever suits the vibe of your conversation.
No realism though, keep that in mind. All right, and they've built a dedicated image playground app, which we'll just go through really quickly.
To make it easy to experiment with creating images, we've also built a dedicated image playground app. You can use it to try out styles, play around with different concepts, and make something to share with friends in other apps or on social media. And for developers, they can integrate the new image playground experience in their app too. with a new API.
All right, next they're going to talk about a new feature called Image Wand, which is actually pretty cool. Nothing revolutionary, but cool nonetheless. Let's watch.
Suppose you want a better image for your architectural history course. With Image Wand, you can circle your rough sketch using Apple Pencil to open up an image playground within your note. Image Wand uses on-device intelligence to analyze your sketch and words and creates an image for you. But what's really fun is that you can even circle empty space, and it will pull out context from the surrounding area to suggest the ideal image to go with your note. It has never been easier to make your notes more visual and engaging.
All right, now they will talk about the ChatGPT integration, and listen to how subtly they talk about it and how they really open it up to being just one of many larger frontier models that you can integrate. And eventually they're going to have their own frontier model, but let's watch.
Still, there are other artificial intelligence tools available that can be useful for tasks that draw on broad world knowledge or offer specialized domain expertise. We want you to be able to use these external models without having to jump between different tools. So we're integrating them right into your experiences. And we're starting out with the best of these, the pioneer and market leader ChatGPT from OpenAI, powered by GPT-4o. First, we built support into Siri, so Siri can tap into ChatGPT's expertise when it might be helpful for you. For example, if you need menu ideas for an elaborate meal to make for friends using some freshly caught fish and ingredients from your garden, you can just ask Siri. Siri determines that ChatGPT might have good ideas for this, asks your permission to share your question, and presents the answer directly.
But where's the voice? GPT-4o, the voice demonstrations that they gave about, a month ago, were incredible. That was clearly what Siri needs to be. But not only have we barely heard any voice in WWDC from Siri, they aren't even talking about it at all. And ChatGPT 4o is not voice-based. It's so interesting. I think it's obvious that Apple wants Siri to be its own voice and not use one of the off-the-shelf ones that OpenAI is providing. But still, not having a compelling voice product in their Apple Intelligence launch is very surprising to me.
You can also include photos with your questions. If you want some advice on decorating, you can take a picture and ask, what kind of plants would go well on this deck? Siri confirms if it's okay to share your photo with ChatGPT and brings back relevant suggestions. It's a seamless integration. In addition to photos, you can also ask questions related to your documents, presentations, or PDFs. We've also integrated ChatGPT into the system-wide writing tools with Compose. You can create content with ChatGPT for whatever you're writing about. Suppose you want to create a custom bedtime story for your 6-year-old who loves butterflies and solving riddles. Put in your initial idea and send it to ChatGPT to get something back she'll love. Compose can also help you tap into ChatGPT's image capabilities to generate images in a wide variety of styles to illustrate your bedtime story. You'll be able to access ChatGPT for free without creating an account.
That's killer. ChatGPT 4o for free in macOS. How much do you think Apple is paying OpenAI to do that? But at the same time, it's interesting because Google pays Apple to be their default search engine. So there's probably an opportunity in the future where once people start showing intent to purchase something, all of a sudden the equation gets flipped and the value is in Apple delivering that user, that eyeball to ChatGPT, and ChatGPT, OpenAI, will start paying Apple. That is a prediction, but not sure how likely that is.
And for ChatGPT subscribers, you'll be able to connect your account and access paid features right within our experiences. Of course, you're in control over when ChatGPT is used and will be asked before any of your information is shared.
Man, Steve Jobs must be rolling over in his grave to see this. I am truly disappointed. While watching this entire Apple Intelligence presentation, I was crossing my fingers and hoping everybody got it wrong with the OpenAI partnership because I want more competition, and it seems like they were all right. Also, I think it's interesting that ChatGPT does not have the access that Apple Intelligence has with deep integrations into your personalization and the apps itself being able to control the phone. So they really positioned it to be this separate single point of integration, which is probably the smartest thing you could do if you did have to work with OpenAI, aka Microsoft. And I almost skipped over this part, but this is such a subtle statement, but so critically important. Let's watch.
iPadOS 18 and macOS Sequoia later this year. We also intend to add support for other AI models in the future.
Oh, look at that. He basically de-risked Apple from OpenAI by saying, hey, we're going to add other models in the future. So they are really just de-risking as much as possible. So that was the Apple Intelligence announcement, and Apple was extremely conservative with their announcements. They de-risked themselves as much as they could from OpenAI. I think a lot of what they announced, especially when you're running all of these things locally on your device, is very compelling, and I hope they continue to expand on that. But a lot of the stuff that they announced was pretty gimmicky. The times where Siri can actually perform actions on your behalf, now that's the future. If you enjoyed this video, please consider giving a like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.